I share Chairman Casey's concerns about the long-term unemployed, and clearly longer they're without a job, the bigger challenge it is getting them back to work. One of the areas that continues to trouble me, because it's the sign of weakness in the labor market rather than strength, is the labor force participation. How many people are actually in the labor force or actively participating? It's declined yet again in July to about 63.9%. This is the lowest since the early 1980s, and it continues to stay there. So just an editorial question. Are we, Commissioner, settling into a new norm where there are, going forward, going to be fewer people participating in the workforce and therefore a higher unemployment rate?
Well, obviously, I hope not. And I tell you the truth, I don't know, but I can tell you that so far in this recovery, we've really seen no recovery at all in the labor force participation. That is something that's typically starting to rise at some point during a recovery. And I think, as I've noted before, I think that's an important phase of the recovery, is when we start to get people entering back into the labor force. I think once that starts to happen, we may get a better idea of what the new norm will be, what the new labor force participation rate is going to be like.
Well, it looks like it may take a while, because I think the decline is twice that of any previous recession. Any ideas what the factors are for that lower participation rate?
It's not obvious to me that it's anything but this has been a very severe, long recession. And we've had a very large number of long-term unemployed, and although the long-term unemployed have stayed in the labor market a bit longer than they have in the past, we've still had quite a few people exit the labor force entirely. So I just think it's the severity and the length of the recession.
At the current rate this month, for example, of 117,000 net jobs, how, just for the average person back home wondering how long we're going to be stuck in a tough economic times, at the current rate of 117,000 per month, how long would it take to regain the payroll jobs total we had prior to the recession? I understand it will be years.
Yeah, I don't want to be flip, but at 117,000 we would never regain. You need about 130,000, at least by my rough calculation, just to absorb the population growth. So really, if you're looking in terms of recovery, I think the way you should look at these numbers is how far above 130 we can get, and that's really the recovery. 117,000 is still treading water, I think.
Right. Thank you. Yield back, Chairman.
Congressman Cummings.